My name is David Silver, and I teach courses in media studies, environmental studies, and urban ag at the University of San Francisco. I think my greatest strength as a teacher is I love working with students. I love working with students, and I've worked with students from preschool all the way to graduate school, and I think that undergraduate students is just the sweetest spot because they're super smart, super curious, and they have enough knowledge to actually do some damage. My first job was at Sunshine Donuts in San Luis Obispo as an 8th grader. My father always gave me a lot of pressure that I had to get a job early on, and so in 8th grade I got a job, and I was in charge of preparing all of the toppings for donuts 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I loved it, but I no longer eat donuts after that job. If I could have any superpower, I think it would be amazing to have a keen sense of empathy for anyone that I work with. Not as a nefarious way to understand what you're thinking, but just to try to understand where other people are coming from. The most terrifying moment of my life was when my father died. Being in the hospital surrounded with my family and witnessing my father die in the hospital after having his second heart attack. That was a terrifying and easily there's some people can just kind of pinpoint the black spot in their heart, and that's certainly one of them. I think the successful students that I know, when they graduate, they kind of find themselves in a community of peers who are able to assess their work or challenge their work or say, hey, you said you were working on a video, I'd love to see it. Trying to tap in and nurture a creative community, I think, is really important for students after they graduate. One of the most rewarding and exciting media projects I worked on was the very early stages of USFtv. I had just arrived, this is 10 years ago, I had just arrived at USF, and my colleague Melinda Stone was telling me that she was working with these 3 students who said, damn it, we're going to start a television station. We need a television station at USF. And so Melinda kind of dragged me along and said, I think you can really help out. And for 2 years, we were the faculty advisors for USFtv, and it was fascinating because to start a project like this from scratch, what's it look like? What's the logo? What's the format? How often do we do it? It was wonderful for a number of reasons. First is that working with the students just every week was really inspiring. And it reminded me that every campus project that's really worth something is started by students. And then the second thing was I learned a lot from Professor Stone. Many times the students would come to her with an idea and she would say, I have reservations about this, what about this? But she would always let them do it. And the idea was the process of experimentation is so much more important than the product. And so I learned from Melinda and from my own experiences that having students go through things, even if it doesn't work, if they're constantly learning and assessing what worked and what didn't, it's a really great learning environment. And for that, I felt really kind of blessed to be there at the beginning, at the ground floor of USFtv.